Hello and good afternoon, TVI viewers. Welcome to CrossRoads with Neethan and Shan. As you know, CrossRoads is a weekly talk show dedicated to discussing a variety of topics that are relevant to the social, economic, political, and cultural advancement of Tamil Canadians. The parliamentary elections in Sri Lanka is only one day away. This is a critical election for Tamils in Ilam as well as in the diaspora for many reasons. On today's episode of CrossRoads, we are meeting with representatives of Tamil National People's Front, TNPF, and Tamil National Alliance, TNA, in two separate segments to gain more understanding about the platform and the issues that the current election campaign is undergoing. So to begin with, we have TNPF's representatives, who supporters of TNPF, I would say. Ranjan Ayature and Quintus Thuresingam, both of you have been active in the community in various ways and are no strangers to the community. So we'll go right into the topic. We have two segments. First segment, we'll have about 24 minutes to talk about TNPF and the platform, and then we'll have representatives from TNA joining us for the second half. I would again say supporters of TNA joining us. So I'll start with Quintus. In election campaigns, after the campaign starts and starts rolling, based on what the politicians are saying and based on what people's concerns are, certain themes and certain issues come to the forefront. They emerge as the ballot box questions or the major themes. So we are one day away from wrapping up the campaign. So what are some of the major issues or concerns or themes that have emerged in this campaign?
You are right. In any election campaign, some of the issues come up as the primary issues, right? In Tamil's needs, there are immediate needs as well as there are long-term goals and the political aspirations, right? We can have some compromise on the immediate needs, but we can't have some compromise. We can't have any kind of compromise on the political aspirations of Tamils. That's where TNPF stands for the Tamils, right? Actually, the Voice for Change, if you look at it, it started in 1976. Thandai Selva started it. He campaigned for federalism vibrantly, vividly. He gave everything what he had, and finally he said, we can't get anything from Sri Lankan government, we need change. That's when he brought Watukotai Declaration. What Watukotai Declaration said was the self-determination, nationhood, and a permanent political solution for Tamils, right? That political aspiration cannot be changed. That's where TNPF comes into play. And Tamils' aspirations cannot be changed. We can't have compromise on that. If you think about it, the Thandai Selva's that as political aspiration package is carried out by TNPF, if you look at it carefully. The TNA, on the other hand, is changing according to situations. They have, depending on where, when, and who they speak to, things change. The political manifesto, the election manifesto in 2013 versus now, 2015, a lot of changes. We can't have that compromise on the political aspirations. So we, for the TNPF, it stands for the self-determination, and what they are proposing is a confederation solution, which is proposed by Thandai Selva in Watukotai.
So you're saying that a long-term political solution has become a major theme.
Absolutely.
Because 6 years have passed and now people are emerging out from immediate needs of resettlement and rehabilitation into looking into
there is no question about immediate needs. Development, food, accommodation, and taking care of people, yes, there is no change about that. Everybody is voicing for that, everybody is campaigning. There is no change in that. We are not saying that immediate needs should not be met, right? But the long-term aspirations is important.
Okay. So, the platforms or the election manifestos have been released.
Yes.
And TNPF's manifesto probably has certain unique features to distinguish itself from the other party, TNA, right?
Right.
Or any other party as well, in addition to TNA. So, what are some unique features or unique promises that's coming out of the manifesto or the election platform from TNPF?
Yeah, well, before I actually talk about the manifesto and the issues what they have on the manifesto at TNPF, I think that better we just go on saying that who we are and then why we got started. I mean, I just want to just go on saying with 2 or 3 sentences, right? We actually represent an initiative called Voice for Change. Actually, we, diaspora Tamils, after 2009, and we have gone to such measures that having what is that, the transnational government of Tamilam in the international what is that, the situation, or the international countries, right, or the countries in international level. So we have gone to that level, or we have gone to that stage. Why we have gone to that stage? Because we believe after 2009, we are the people that who have been with our people in the North and East during all these years of the struggle, and then especially after 2009, and our people in North and East, they need us in a very what is that, heavily, I would say. So in that context, we see the people, or some people from Canada, we got together, and then we talk about that how our people going to face this election, upcoming election in Sri Lanka. And then we thought of having an option for our people. Since there is the only sole representatives of Tamils, TNA as the sole representative of Tamils, right, for last 6 years, and then the initiatives that what we have been doing in diaspora, instance, what is it, the war crime, taking the war crimes around UN, and then strengthening the genocide issue. So to strengthen and build towards finding a permanent and political solution for our people, we believe representatives from North and East should carry the same mandates. So even though they have given, or they have spelled the same mandate at the election time, we see during the last 6 years, they didn't actually carry that mandate what they have got from the people. So that is where we thought, and we decided to just give an option for our people to choose, rather just having a single voice, and not voicing the differences what they have. So this is where we actually got together and form an initiative called Voice for Change. So here we mainly see, as diaspora, we believe that our people in the North and East deserve the distinguished nation recognition, and the right what it comes with, the self-determination right for the nation. So until our people get a solution with that status, we diaspora would just continue to work with people in the North and East to advance the people's the long-term goal of strengthening that permanent political solution, which comes with the recognition of the nationhood with the rights of self-determination. So that is where we, even though we have differences, or we see a lot of shortcomings within the TNPF, we see they are the only party. They have a clear vision with the goal of achieving the permanent solution, that is with the self-determination right for Tamil people, and unrelenting leadership, which actually they showed through a performance what they have done during the last 6 years. So there where we see that we should support this party, and we should take this party into people's mind, or give this party as an option for our people in the North and East. So basically, like your question was that what we have or what they have in their manifesto, and we actually see this is the main thing that they differ from the other party, TNA, that they are actually carrying forward or advancing the unrelenting the fundamentals of the Tamil struggle.
So there's a strong and explicit mention and recognition of a nationhood.
That's right.
And with that comes right to self-determination. Coming to campaign itself, being part of a campaign, a lot of unexpected things happen. Positive things, negative things, and some things that gets highlighted throughout the campaign. So in the campaign trail, have you noticed anything that's happening for TNPF that could be highlighted?
Absolutely. When they are going places to places, particularly to small villages, the kind of support they are getting is amazing. And the things that here is that their voice is not heard. There is a talk that people are tired of this prolonged war, and there is a fatigue, and people give them a break or something. People don't think it that way. we have lost everything, but we haven't lost the hope, right? Hope for a change is there. So they keep on saying that we can't lose our nationhood, our self-determination rights, and our existence. So the singular government successfully campaigned to advance their own intentions, right? Determinations. And the parties that represented the Tamils did not carry out that kind of strong torch for the Tamils in the past 6 years. And people realize that, people see that, and people want someone do that for them, right? Looking at the youth representation, looking at where we live here, there's a term called retirement. Why do they have that retirement? Because people have to retire after some service, and they have to introduce youth, and they also have to pass the torch to the youth or to the next generation. Nothing is happening there. So we have to, or people have to wait until these so-called leaders exit the world. Until that time, there's no change, and people are tired of this. That they all hear that when they campaign, go to different campaigning areas, go to different people. That's what they hear.
So let's talk a bit about, the popularity or strength of a party is a function of the type of candidates it has.
Right.
So TNPF candidates, can you tell us a little bit about some highlights of the candidates and the type of individuals that are?
Yeah, well, interestingly, I think that I would just take some of his comments to just take it on to say about give you some idea about what's happening there and what has been happening throughout these 6 years. It is true that actually, to build a better society, I think we should embrace and then build and create and build the second leadership, and that is something that very important in our situation. We all know that our struggle, even though we had a armed struggle throughout last 30 years. And I believe, this is my personal belief, that actually we failed to build the second leadership and creating a strong, a force that can, even though we faced many obstacles and unprecedented happenings, but still we should just create and leave, or we should create and build the second leadership where the people can just continue to just wage their struggle towards just achieving their justice, right? So now in this election, TNPF, they have taken a careful consideration about getting youngsters. And in every district they have given 2 seats for women, and also they have taken into the consideration about how they can give chances for those people who were with the struggle, especially with the former LTT members. So those are the very progressive moves and progressive stance that TNP has taken at this election time. I think that actually has given a better niche for TNPF in terms of gaining momentum on the ground.
The diversity of candidates is critical, and that brings various perspectives from the community as well. So let's talk a bit about the Chief Minister, because we only have one formal government head in our I think both chief ministers from both places, and his statement, he's claimed neutrality in terms of where he stands, but he's released a number of statements around civic engagement or getting people to start thinking about what are the important long-term political solutions and things like that. So what role does he play in this election? How has his stand or lack thereof benefited TNPF or its progress?
I think his intention was not focused towards the election and who is going to be winning. Even before the election was called, he took a very strong stand. Yeah. And he was challenged by TNA members for taking that stand.
On genocide,
which is very unfortunate. The people who are representing the Tamils were challenging the Chief Minister for taking a strong stand for the Tamils, for the very people they said they were representing. They went and met him, and warned him not to take that kind of stand. Even before that, when he mentioned about genocide, they were very angry. They were very angry. They made statements saying that his statement was wrong, and the declaration that the northern province made, it was what TNA did is they took the Sri Lankan government representatives to Jaffna and to directly give him a kind of a formal or indirect warning. Don't do these things in the future, which is very, very, very unfortunate. But Justice Vigneswaran, who is the Chief Minister, took that stand, and he was very clear on that. Even after the election was called, he told the people, use your correct judgment, which means to suggest that he is very clear on what people have to choose. If he was determined that TNA was already doing a good job, he would have attested. Very clearly he would have done that, because TNA proposed his name for the Chief Minister post.
Yeah.
So TNA was the one who chose him. Despite that fact, if he is taking that strong stand, that means what they have taken is not what people are looking for. So Northern Chief Minister is very clear what people are looking for, and he was very clear on the stand, and he clearly said that.
Actually, I want to, if you can let me, I want to add one or two things about CM's, not only CM, the other peoples that whom TNA have been choosing just because of using them. This is how I see. They wanted at that time, when they wanted to, they wanted a personality, and they just brought Chief Justice, former Chief Justice Vigneswaran. And then if you see the Anandi situation, they need some support from the women's side, especially since after the war that the war affected people. The women are the ones that who are affected heavily, or so what they have been doing, actually they are choosing people to bring in terms of gaining support for them, and then they started to manipulate and maneuver people personalities, and I don't think that would would keep on going in a long term, and then eventually
these are strong personalities. They are not easy to manipulate.
That's the thing, actually, and that is not something that they are taking as a wrong stand, and they are, I think, they are voicing the real situation of the ground, and that is where I think these, I mean, the TNA, especially the Tamil Katchi people, right, should see this as a very serious things, and then should actually bring sort of dialogue within them or within the people, or they should talk to the people about the real situation, and make decision, having people's voice within that too.
So we got coming to the last part of the segment. So I want to get into some of the general concerns, or generally the critique that's put forward with TNPF. One is obviously, there's been a number of elections that TNPF, or particularly those who are leading TNPF, have asked for boycott of elections in the past, and then they are participating in this election. People, the reasons change, but I would like to know why the change took place, and why is there now an attempt to get into electoral politics, which wasn't the case before? I
think that we can talk about past two elections. One was the presidential election, and the previous one was the provincial election, northern provincial election. Northern provincial election time, even before that, soon after the 2009 Mullivaikkal situation, at that time we all know that in diaspora, in many countries, there were huge protests that was staged by the people, right, in many countries. And then I think that what has happened in Canada, we all know that it was a huge protest, right, that we had for days and months, right. So these made the countries to just put some more focus towards what's happening in Sri Lanka at that time. So we all know that India has been actually using the Tamils problem in Sri Lanka as a tool for their regional power or regional geopolitical interest, right? So at that time, since the international countries' focus was turned towards what has happened in terms of the humanitarian situation in Sri Lanka, the India decided not to, not to let all these countries come and just get involved with the situation there at that time.
So just in the interest of time, maybe what particularly in terms of the attitude.
Well, actually, I have to give this context why actually at that time Kajendra Kumar, when he was at TNA, he proposed that was the time that we shouldn't just limit ourselves listening to India, since our Tamil people problem has gone to an international level. We have to set up, or we have to go for an international involved interim administration.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that he was advocated at that time. He fought for it actually. But unfortunately, since the TNA leaders, people like Sambandan, they always wanted to listen to India alone. So this was the actually a huge difference where Kajendra Kumar started having differences between Sambandan and himself. So here we are in this context, when we face this the northern provincial election, we all know that India has its own agenda to impose on us. So accepting the northern provincial council election by the party like TNA, who actually had their mandate as to advance our people's fundamentals, right? It would eventually shows to the international community or international government that we are simply accepting the Indian agenda,
and model of having a government.
That's right. So there where Kajendra Kumar proposed, let the independent people or group take over this provincial election and let us boycott this one, telling the international government that this is our stand. And if you have a technical, if you show us that technically we have to take this, we should take this because of we should take care of the people's immediate problems, and let the independent group take that one, and we will stand. And then we are just giving a clear message because of this, because of we are not accepting the 13th and provincial solution to the Tamils problem. We are not participating in it. This was the position why we or the TNPF boycotted that northern provincial election. And then the presidential one, why we boycotted, or why we asked people to boycott this one, we didn't have any clear agreement with the government, right? So that was a clear stand that we said, like, without having a clear and concrete agreement, we simply don't have anything for Tamils there. That's why we are boycotting.
So the other issue or the other concern has been around the 2 nations, 1 country slogan. Some people claim that it's very ambiguous and it doesn't spell out what it needs to. It's not clear. It might be meaning a whole lot of different things to different people. Can you explain why?
Absolutely, I will be happy to explain that. I mean, I have to be brief because of the time, but I will be happy to explain that. Delusion and wrong propaganda won't work. This slogan is the Confederation. Confederation is right from Tande Selva, right? Tande Selva proposed that self-determination, and we need to fight for it. And Mr. Prabhakaran, our national leader, took that challenge and fought for us. 30 years of fight and sacrificed a lot of lives. And now we can't compromise. We have to stand by that Confederation solution. Confederation was successful around the world. Belgium, Canada, Switzerland, Serbia and Montenegro. You can name so many things. Long time back, Norway and Sweden, many countries were successful. Confederation means two nations together with some agreements fruitfully grow, and whenever there is a need for succession, that's possible.
So
that is
nation, being recognized as a nation automatically gives the nation the right to self-determination.
That is the highest possible political solution that you can ask under the Sri Lankan constitution at the moment. That's the highest, and the Tamil representative asked for it. What's wrong with that?
Okay, so we're going to wrap up. The final question is, like, tomorrow is the election, and what are you expecting, and how would things change if what you're expecting happens?
Well, definitely, as I mentioned earlier, actually, as diaspora or as a part of our people, in the northern east, we have been advancing, or we have been working towards actually strengthening this war crimes issue and the genocide, and to strengthen that further, we need voices from back home as elected representatives, having the firm mandate from the people in advancing to advance the people's fundamentals of achieving a permanent political solution that actually recognize the nationhood of Tamils. So I believe that once we get elected TNP representatives, right, and then we can definitely with the strength of the diaspora, as we have been in these international countries for last 25 years, we are not anymore refugees. We have been actually changed into financial or economical contributors to the respective countries, and then we are a political entity, and I think we in many different levels of government, our people are there, and not only there, the policy makers, or in that level also we have people. So I think that with this strength and having elected representatives back home carrying the fundamentals of Tamils, we definitely can advance our people's justice aspirations.
Great, thank you very much. Thanks Ranjana Yatre and Quintus Thresingham for taking the time and coming and explaining this, the platform, the various aspects of TNPF and the reasons for some of the choices that they have made as well. So best wishes, and we will definitely debrief after the election is over, after a few weeks, to see where we go from there. Thank you very much for your time. And
thank you, Neethan. Thank you, TV.
In the next segment, we'll have representatives from TNA, Tamil National Alliance, coming to explain their positions, platform, and the choices they've made and the reasons for those choices. So stay tuned.